welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be trying out a foundation. So I have tried the El Maquillage one, and as much as I liked the way it looked on my skin, I just didn't like the way it felt on my skin. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing another foundation wear test because I feel like I need to try, I'm like really on the search for the best foundation I could find. Now, for reference, and I'm telling you, I know you guys know that I work for Estee Lauder as a freelancer. I'm not being biased or anything, but I do absolutely love their Double Wear. It is one of my favorite foundations just because it stays on all day. So this is kind of like my summer foundation, but with that being said, it can be a little bit drying for me, so I have to mix it with another foundation. I kind of want to find a standalone foundation. So a standalone foundation is my mission, my quest for my face, and as much as I love my Double Wear, it can be a little bit drying. Now in the summer, when I do get a little bit more oily, as I'm getting older, I notice that my oil is less, so that's why this tends to get a little bit dry on me. It's not at the fault of this foundation at all. It's just my skin changing. When I first started wearing Double Wear, it really did amazing on my skin. I would have to say the foundation that I found was in the past, not now, but in the past, foundation that I really loved was the Wet n Wild one, when it was liquidy. So for some reason, and I do have, I kind of put this in my special effects makeup, like my, looks makeup, my avant-garde makeup. This is the Wet n Wild one. I thought it'd be comparable to the Double Wear, but for some reason, look at this. It's thicker. Like, is that a change in formula? Because I don't remember it being that thick. I remember it being more liquidy. So, I'm like, that one was great when I first started using it, gosh, back in 2018. And my skin was a little bit different. It was adjusting back to New Mexico weather from Colorado, so my skin was actually getting more oily. It's weird, I know, you're like, you live in a desert, your skin is oily? I'm like, yes. I grew up in New Mexico. I'm from New Mexico. My skin is very oily, and then, of course, I inherited the oily skin from my mom. Good thing about it is that I don't age as fast. Bad thing about it is that I break out. I have discoloration, massive pores, and then I look like a grease monkey at the end of the day. So, now that my skin's adjusted to it, it's been, we've been here for what? Been back in New Mexico since 2018, and it's 2024. So, with that being said, it's just a lot, I feel like a lot of things have changed in my skin, including the fact that I'm aging. I'm 40 now, so my skin still breaks out to this day. It just does. That's just the way it is. But my skin likes a little bit more moisture in a foundation. So now, with my switch in skin, I would use Double Wear and then the Futurist. I'm out of my Futurist right now, so I'll just use like the Age Perfect from L'Oreal, but I'm almost out of this. And then I've been liking the Makeup Revolution Skin Silk. It's been doing pretty good. And then for now, I use the e.l.f. Cosmetics Halo Glow Filter stuff, like kind of like the Charlotte Tilbury, and then I put this on top. I like the way they look together, but I just want an all-in-one light feeling. As much as Double Wear does feel light on my skin, I want something a little bit lighter feeling and something a little bit more comfortable. So with that, I got intrigued. So, you saw my last video with El Maquillage. I love the way it looked. The match was perfect, except my oily skin it just didn't, it did not fare well there. But it did feel very good on my skin. The coverage wasn't there, so I know that I'm looking for full coverage. However, the only thing about this is it's not exactly full coverage, but I like the fact that it is got niacinamides in it. It's a self-setting, so I'm curious about that. Do I have to actually set my makeup? And then, of course, it's lightweight. It's medium to buildable coverage. This is the Urban Decay Face Bond. So I've been intrigued by this because I used to use, truth be told, I used to use way back in the day when it first launched, It was the All-Nighter foundation. That stuff was like, it set. And back then, I was able to do it. It was when I first started working at Ulta in 2015. And I really liked the way it looked and liked the way it felt. And my skin was just, but it oxidized with, you know, my skin adjusting. It oxidized a lot. So I had to, like, I went from 4.0, and then I went to a 3.25, and that was the only way I could make it work. I liked it, but these days I can't wear that stuff. I don't even know if it's still at the stores. I haven't really looked at the Urban Decay area, but lately, what was it? A couple days ago, I did manage to kind of look at it and see what was new. I do like the lip bonds. Those are really, really nice. So this is kind of like off that. It's the face bond. So the lip bonds are like a vinyl kind of finish, but it doesn't kiss off and it stays put, which I love that. I absolutely love that. I don't own one of the lip bonds. I really do want to buy, oh gosh, what was that color? It was really pretty. It was like a purple color. I really want to buy that, but you know, I try and not buy too many lip products because my lip drawer is absolutely massive. I'm looking at it right now. It's massive. I have too many lipsticks, too many things. I don't wear liquid lipsticks that often, but I do like the way they, you know, those look. So I'm... Alright, so I zoomed in closer so I can show you the box. Here is the box, Urban Decay Face Bond. Now, it says it's waterproof, up to 24-hour wears, 3% niacinamide, which is kind of like a moisturizer, and then you can't feel the coverage. Of course, you get 1 fluid ounce. This was $40, but I did get it on sale at the Sephora sale. I got it 15% off, which that's how come I bought it, because I was like, if I'm going to try some new foundation that's a little bit more on the higher end, I want it on sale because, man, foundations have gone up in price, that's for sure. But yeah, it's supposed to be a lightweight, medium to buildable coverage. And it says the 3% niacinamides formula clinically tested to improve skin texture feel after 4 weeks. I like that. I like the fact that it has skincare in there. This is supposed to be water, sweat, and humidity proof, smudge and transfer resistant. No powder needed. I'm curious. I'm curious about that because I always need a powder. So we're curious about this, right? It's a vegan formula, patent pending, no mess, no waste dropper. And honestly, I don't really look for vegan formulas just because some vegan products don't fare well on my skin. Maybe it's just because of the plant-based or whatever inside of it. I have allergies. I know the brand's Pacifica I can't use. I just can't use it. It's very, very irritating to my skin. So yeah, we're going to try that. This is what it looks like. This is the actual component. And I got the shade 13. Was it light, medium, cool, olive? Now I am more neutral, but I really wanted to try this one. Okay, so how do you open it? Oh, that's a cool, oh, it's already coming out. So that's the dropper, patent pending. It looks a little light for me. But, oh, it's just like exploding out. Put that back on. I don't want to waste product. But it should work, I feel. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. I've already prepped my skin. I'm going to show you what I prepped with as far as skincare. So I had washed my face with my Ole Henriksen Truth Juice Daily Cleanser. I really like this cleanser. And then for toner, I did use the hydrating toner from First Aid Beauty. And this one has squalene and oats in it for sensitive skin, which I like. It's like a milky texture. And then for my pores, I did use the Glow Recipe Strawberry BHA Pore Smoothing Blur Drops. This does really well with my nose area. I do break out. As you can see, I do have some acne scars on my face because of breakouts from hormonal stuff. And then I use the Aloe Glow System Luminizing Face Moisturizer. As a moisturizer. I'm currently trying to use my BoxyCharm skincare before I start breaking into my backups of my Estee Lauder. Usually I wear Estee Lauder, and honestly, like, when I prepped it, my skin does feel a little bit drier, so I might need a little bit more moisture. And then my eye cream was e.l.f. Cosmetics Holy Hydration Eye Cream. I do like that stuff. Standard eye cream. My eyes tend to get really dry, but I kind of want to take an extra step and add some of my Estee Lauder moisturizer because I felt like that didn't do enough moisture. And I like this because it's a balm texture. And it really, really does the job that I need it to do as far as like moisture without feeling heavy. Alright. We've got that set. Now we're going to be using, I'm going to use my No Problem primer from Touch in Sol. I really like this around this area. I try not to put on my nose too much because my nose has been really dry lately. Alright, so there we go. We are prepped. I'm going to use the product on the back of my hand. I'm going to use a brush on one side of my face, this side, and then a sponge on this side. So let's go ahead and go with the brush. Here's hoping. Color's a little light. Nothing powder can't fix. I'm sorry, but I might have to set this with the powder. Well, no, it's actually not that bad. And it looks really light on camera. I thought this was going to be more olive. That's actually not bad. Oh, it's exploding out of the bottle. It's got some pressure in there, so that's probably why it's like coming too much out of the bottle. But see, I have a dark spot right here that needs covering. Oh, hey, that did a pretty decent job. Usually foundations, they tend to like not want to cooperate with my dark spots, and then they'll just kind of lift. I do like the way it's feeling. I went ahead and dampened this sponge. I can't remember what brand this is. I think I got it in a BoxyCharm. But let's see what it looks like with a sponge. And of course I have two pretty prominent dark spots that are very stubborn to cover. I do like the fact, like, the coverage is not bad. I like it. Like, a little does go quite a long way, but of course if you want lighter coverage. But I like how it just presses into the skin. First layer, of course you can still see my dark spots. We're going to put another layer on. I do like the way it feels. Off the bat, I like the way it feels. It just feels like I didn't put anything on, honestly. So we're going to put another layer on this side with a brush. I'm just going to stipple it in. And I have a lot of like dark spots on my nose. Up here is a little uneven. But yeah, like here on the jawline is where I have the most issue. It did cover that dark spot pretty well. Not all the way, which is what I expect, because it is hard to cover. But I can tell you, with the El Maquillage, I did not like how it didn't cover anything. It like covered nothing, and I couldn't build it to cover it. So this one, I feel like I was able to build it to where I wanted. And I know on camera it looks pretty light, but actually it's a pretty good color for my face. My neck is just a little bit warmer as it gets more sun. And I don't put a whole lot of foundation on my forehead. That's where I've noticed there's a lot of like creasing and unevenness. And I do have 2 acne marks that are drying out a little bit. I mean, with a sponge it shows a little bit less coverage, of course, but building it on those 2 spots right there, I'm telling you. And a lot of people ask me, oh my gosh, you have gorgeous skin. I'm like, if only you knew what is underneath. I do have a skin picking disorder, anxiety disorder, so I don't necessarily leave my skin alone after I break out, so that's why there's prominent dark spots. But other than that, man, that's pretty good. So I expect a lot in a foundation to give me that confidence, you know? Alright, so as far as coverage goes, I will say it does a pretty decent job. And it does not feel heavy. So, with that being said, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to use a concealer for my under eyes. I don't know if I really want to put a powder on. I do. Unless I put one half with a powder and one half without. So I'm going to put my concealer on. And this is the Makeup Revolution concealer. Now, I do want to try that Urban Decay one, but I can't seem to find my color. It's just very hard to find my color. Like, I want to do the, what is it, 40NN, but I feel like it's a little light for me. And this one, I like how cool it is because it kind of helps color correct my under eyes. And I'm trying not to get the urge to spot conceal. I want to see if I can spot conceal with this. You know, it would be nice to have that other concealer because that'd be great underneath. Because typically what I do is ow, I hit my hand. I spot conceal with a concealer first and then I go on top. But I'm going to try and see if this, oh hey, that actually does a great job. Of course, I have some dryness on my nose. Like, that did a good job. That did a good job at spot concealing a little bit. Of course, it's not going to be like full coverage spot concealing, but it's light. Like it's a lightweight feel. Here we go with the sponge. This is a very pesky spot to cover, so I'm not expecting this foundation to cover it, but it seems to layer pretty nicely and do what it's supposed to do. Now I will say, I notice my forehead's a little bit textury, and I notice the foundation is textury as well. I think that's just, my skin is very, very difficult. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is add some powder on one side. Maybe? I don't know. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do powder on one side and no powder on the other. And we're going to use cream products on one side that we're not powdering, because then we have something going good here. Let's go ahead and powder with my Essence foundation powder. I want to see, this is my usual powder that I use. So we're going to set it with that powder on one side, and then the other side we're going to kind of leave it be. Alright. Moment of truth. How is it going to play? Oh yeah, it does a good job. I will have to set my under eyes because that will crease. But yeah, this is what I typically have to do. I have to set it with a powder. Oh, wow. You know, usually, okay, here's my thing. Usually, I know that's probably why I have so much, I look like I have a lot of makeup on all the time. So usually this area, I have to go on top of it again. But it seemed the powder stuck to the foundation very nicely to a point where it just, this looks natural. This looks great. Oh, I like that. I really like it. I will say my Essence powder looks gorgeous on it. And my skin does not look super like cakey. Okay, I'm already loving this foundation. I'm going to put powders on top on one side, and then we'll do the creams on the other. Because we're not setting the other side, I will have to refrain. So I'm just using my NYX Cosmetics bronzer in the shade, what is it? Medium. It's a little bit on the red side, but you know. But yeah, this does look really pretty. Like, I like it. I like it a lot. All right, Essence blush. Like, even, oh. So I did kind of cave. And I know the Sephora sale is coming to an end, or already has ended when I release this video, it'll be already over. But I did kind of go in and purchase the Milk, you know, that cooling jelly blush. So I'm kind of want to see how the liquids go on this side without me powdering. And then maybe that'll be my nice flush of color and my skin will look natural. I like that idea. Alright, so I'm going to use my Juvia's Place bronzer, but I don't want to use a heavy brush. I'm going to go with a lighter brush. I need to wash my brushes. So I wear the shade Caramel, which is a little bit dark for me. That was the only one available at the time. Ooh. I want to see how the creams fare on this. Because I really want to wear creams. So I find creams to be, I don't know, funner. Alright, so it blended really well. Of course, this is very heavy for me, so I'm going to have to kind of go over it with a little bit of foundation to kind of dial it down. And honestly, I didn't use tons of the foundation, but I used enough. Like, it's enough. But I like how this is doing well covering, like building. Okay, that worked. Alright, clean off my brush here. Go into a liquid blush. I'm going to be using the Juvia's Place Rosy Posy Glow. This is the Blush Light. And I don't want to go too heavy because my blush on this side is not heavy. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I can't use a brush. The creams are not faring. Granted, this is a very pigmented blush. Okay, I think I might have fixed it. Not quite. Oh. Okay, so the creams are not playing well with this. It's okay, we're going to keep going. We're not going to let a little cream tear us down. I do like the way the foundation looks on the other side. It looks gorgeous. Alright, so we've got cream there. I do have to set my under eyes because I need to set my under eyes. I'm just going to kind of... Oops. I had blush on my brush. That's okay. And my forehead, like the eyebrow area, I do have to set that. Alright, so we're going to keep this unset. I will try everything in my power not to mess with it. Alright, I don't like how the blush kind of clunked up a little bit there. Alright, so this is the powdered side. It looks really great. Here is the cream side, sorry. You can see how the blush kind of gunked up there. Alright, so I'm going to put the rest of my face on. Try my hardest not to powder this side of my face. I really want to powder it. I really do. But I'm going to have to kind of even it out. I'm not going to add powder. I'm just going to kind of, you know, clean up the gunkiness a little bit. Alright, so I will be back. Alright, so it's been a couple hours. Well, actually 3 to be exact. Since my last check-in. I don't have my phone on me. I I left it in the other room. But it is like 1, yeah, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So let's take a close-up. The powdered side looks still really good. My forehead is getting some oil, but that's natural. T-zone's always oily. I am getting oil here in the crevice of my nose. On the unpowdered side, of course, it's pretty dewy looking at this point. No tack though. Like it's not tacky or sticky feeling. And it's currently kind of, you know, dry weather right now, so usually when it's dry or a little bit breezy or windy, my skin tends to dry up really bad, and so far it feels comfortable. My under eyes are a bit dry just because of my concealer. My concealer tends to do that. And I did set this under eye because it would crease like crazy. But yeah, I'm noticing that the unset side, it's not bad. Usually I set every foundation, because I don't like the tackiness and not knowing that it's set down. So it's a little bit, it's always concerning for me when I'm not setting my face, but it feels nice. That's the thing, is like this foundation feels nice. And I was outside, I was running around, and I felt like my skin was just getting a little bit windblown, and I noticed that it was just very, it didn't stick. Like there's no weird texture or dryness forming with the dry weather outside. Here's a close up of my face. Excuse my lips, they're pretty dry, and then my lip gloss kind of wore down. So here is the powdered side. As you can see, there's some oiliness there. That's pretty standard, but the rest of it, it's fine. Forehead is a bit shiny, but not terrible. The unpowdered side, of course, is a little bit more shinier just because it wasn't set down, but it looks nice. Okay, so this is my biggest area of concern, is this area here. I always get texture. So far, so good. Get my mirror so I can kind of... It is a little bit textury here, but that is normal. It's very normal. Here, you can see a lot more texture because it wasn't set down. On my chin, you could see more texture because it wasn't set down. And of course, here you could see my pores because it wasn't set down. Alright, so obviously you can see the difference between the unpowdered and powdered version. We're gonna blot, because that's what I do throughout the day. I blot. But we're not gonna do, so what we're gonna do is my powder foundation here. We're gonna blot those areas, because usually if it's an oily situation, I will tend to get oily again, you know. Alright, so I just wanted to see if it'll fix it and not lift. Now for this side, with no additional product, I'm going to take my foundation brush and just kind of press it and see what that does. No powder on this. Alright. So far, still textured. Let's get closer. Still textured, but not as bad. Still textured, Here. It doesn't have any powder, so it didn't lift completely off. Of course, here it's noticing some wear, or I could have lifted it off, who knows. But my powdered side, pretty good. Texture is minimized with the powder. It didn't get disturbed. Now we're up pretty close. So, my tissue kind of tore. This side I will put on the unpowdered side and just press it in. I'm pressing pretty aggressive. It did lift a little in my nose, but it didn't lift on the rest of the face that much. take some on my forehead to take off some of my makeup. And I'm pressing hard to take off some of my makeup. So, difference? Not really. So here's my unpowdered and there's my powdered side. It does lift off. It's going to lift off. That's just how it's going to be. But it didn't lift off completely. Like, I feel like I can rub my skin and it's not going to disturb the makeup as much. Okay, so, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. I did take off a good chunk there, so I'm just going to kind of fix that by no additional product, just kind of blending it. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to see if I can reapply in the areas it's worn off and see if it layers right. That's another test that I would like to do. So I will be back in a few hours. Alright, so it's been a couple hours since my last one. Yes, it's about 3 o'clock, so that's 2:58. There you go, 3:58. Had to grab it weird. My hands are just, I don't know, I feel weird today. But anyways, yeah, so as far as the wear goes, of course the unpowdered side is kind of wearing down. Texture is there just because it didn't powder, it didn't set, so it's kind of settling. So for me and my skin, not necessarily everyone's skin, but my skin, I would powder it right away. Like, I would powder it. But I do notice some wear here, so I'm going to go ahead and apply just a little bit. Just tiny, 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 tiny little drop. Using my brush that I used on this side. Be consistent. And we're going to put it on top here. And see how it layers once it's been worn for a while. Hey, it layers pretty good. Especially on my nose, that's where it wore off the most. That's just typical of every foundation. There's not a foundation out there that doesn't do that to me. But I absolutely love this foundation. I'm going to tell you, like, I've already, like, decided that I really like this palette. I really like this, not palette, foundation. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in close to see how you think it looks. Last thoughts on this foundation. Preference to applying it. I personally would apply it with my brush. This is my Bare Minerals Luxe Performance brush. I had gotten this a long, long time ago. I think when the Bare Pro first came out, the Bare Pro foundation, what was I doing? Oh, I was at Ulta in Denver, and I was a prestige manager there. We went to a training for Bare Minerals, and they gave us the brush and the foundation, and I did like that foundation. I think they reformulated it, but I haven't really partaked in a lot of I don't partake in a lot of high-end foundations as much as I used to. I usually do drugstore because the affordability drugstore, but drugstore's starting to get a little bit high in price, which I'm very shocked. But anyways, I've always used this brush. I clean it with just some like dish soap just to break up all of that, like, because I usually use this with my doubleware. But I love it, and I think it did a great job on the coverage part of the non-powdered part, so it really did work there. Now, as far as a sponge goes, I did have to kind of go on top a few more times because sponges do tend to kind of shear it out, especially if it's damp. It shears it out a little bit, so I think I would go, if I want a little bit sheerer of a coverage, I'd do the sponge, but more of my preference would be the brush. So get a dense brush. Even so, like if you don't have that, any kind of dense brush, even an IT Cosmetics brush, the standard one, perfect. It's absolutely perfect for that. Okay, so what did I prep with? I prepped with my usual. To keep the oil at bay a little bit more, it's very hard to find a primer for me. This one seems to work okay. It's the e.l.f. Cosmetics one. I don't typically go for like gripping ones, but I think I might have to go back into a gripping foundation. Gripping primer, excuse me. Gripping primer. So I might have to repurchase the e.l.f. gripping primer because that one worked the best for me. But this is to kind of keep the oil at bay. If I feel a little bit dry, I would probably put, it might cut down the longevity, but the Estee Lauder Aqua Brilliance. I love this primer. It's very good for my skin, especially if I'm feeling a little dehydrated. This is really like a drink of water for your skin. But pore-wise, I wanted to minimize my pores. I want to minimize as much texture as possible so it can lay really nice. So that's why I use this one, and this is my all-time favorite pore primer. Okay, setting powder. I always use this. Always. This is my favorite setting powder of all time. This is the Essence 16-Hour Cover and Last, and I wear the shade Classic Vanilla. So I absolutely love this stuff because if I need a tiny, tiny bit more coverage, I can do that and it doesn't look cakey. So I really love this stuff, and I keep one in my purse and I keep one in my makeup drawer. So it's good. Alright, concealer, I would probably go for something a little bit more moisturizing because my skin is a little tight around my eyes. I did use my IRL Filter Finish from Makeup Revolution, and I'm like, I like it, but it's a little drying. So I feel like the best combination that could be with this foundation, as far as concealer, would be this one. And I haven't cracked this one open. This is the Futurist Soft Touch. I feel like I can spot conceal and then just put a light layer of that, and I'm good to go. Because this one is paired with the Futurist Oil Infused Serum foundation. That's too light for me. I cannot do that one, and it's a little too moisturizing for me. So I would do this one with this one. So that's saying a lot because I absolutely love this concealer. It's really good. I've tried it on customers, and I'm saying I tried it on myself on the back of my hand, but I've tried it on customers and I've done a full face and they really like it. So I am actually very excited for that. I really do like this face bond. It's actually really good. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're looking for something really light and your combo oily, it will work. Of course, I do get shiny no matter what. I'm just very oily. Yeah, I would recommend it. And the way I prep my skin is how I usually prep it. And I had to add a little bit more moisture to my skin, so that probably kicked my oil a little bit more into overdrive because my skin feels a little unbalanced, but my texture is not so bad. It does look really natural on the skin, so the color is really nice. So highly, highly recommend if you have not tried. If you're kind of scared of Urban Decay foundations, I know that a lot of my customers back in the day were a little bit scared of the oxidizing of the all-nighter, but a lot of people still love it. And then when they did the Naked Skin, that one was beautiful. I mean, the shade range was gorgeous, so I feel like that one's good. I did like their moisturizing one. Gosh, what is it called? It's the moisturizing tinted one. But that one felt really nice on the skin. To me, it reminded me of Wet n Wild, but just a little bit more fresh. But this has to be my favorite that they've come out with. I'm very excited. I'm glad that they did something like this because a lot of brands don't do something like this. And I like the applicator. It's adorable. It's very nice. The color's great. So 10 out of 10. Love this foundation. Highly recommend. Alright, so that is my final thoughts on the Urban Decay Face Bond Foundation. I really love it. If you haven't tried it, please do, honestly. And if you want me to do more in-depth tests on it, let me know in the comments and I can actually do that. So with that being said, that's the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in my next one.